All right, some growing indications this hour from Israel. You can diss them, but that doesn't mean you can bend them. Reports that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has no plans at this moment to heed White House calls to halt settlement construction along East Jerusalem. And this despite the dressing down, that photo-less session he was subjected to when he was at the White House last week. Former New York Mayor Ed Koch says good for him, not Obama, for Bibi. Mayor? What do you make of this hard stance response?
What is very difficult for me to accept, and I have been a supporter of President Obama and went to Florida for him, urged Jews all over the country to vote for him, saying that he would be just as good as John McCain on the security of Israel. I don't think it's true anymore. I believe that he orchestrated what happened in Israel. We, the United States, had accepted, the Palestinians had accepted the fact that there would be a moratorium on the West Bank, but in Jerusalem, Jews could live wherever they wanted to live and could afford to live. So
this was just for show, and that's the way they treated Netanyahu at the White House was for show?
It's not show. I think that what they did is they wanted to make Israel into a pariah, and it's really outrageous in my judgment. The shocking thing is that the supporters of Israel in Congress, you know, they had a party, you can count on us, but they haven't stood up and said to the president, you're wrong on this, Mr. President.
But Mayor, you're the only one in Manhattan who's saying this. Only one. So why is that?
Well, there are several reasons. Some would say Chuck Schumer, for example, is a great defender of the state of Israel as one of our
Well, he couldn't have supported this treatment.
No, but what he says is he's working behind the scenes. And then if you talk to anybody else, they all say we're working behind the scenes. It must be very crowded there. But Chuck said that if he's unable to get the Obama administration to change its position, he will be speaking out. That's what he told me.
All right, but they didn't change things, and regardless of policy disputes with a leader, rarely do you sequester him to a room in the White House, avoid any pictures with him, and then only a few days later greet the leader of France, with whom we've had very rocky relations. Let's speak bluntly. It is weird.
Well, it's not only weird, it's unacceptable. And the fact is that what the president did was engage in discourtesy that he never shows to an ally. And Israel has been one of our closest allies. He said that on prior occasions.
Well, why do you think he really did it? Does he want to force an election? Does he want to force Israelis to get worried, anxious?
I believe he wants to demean Israel, blame it for the impasse. The fact is that the two prior prime ministers offered the Palestinian Authority a deal whereby they would get back 97% of the West Bank, and that the Jewish settlements on the West Bank would remain in that 3% area, and they would give equal quality land from the balance of Israel to make up for that.
So what do you...
And they rejected it.
They rejected that, that's right. So what do you then glean from a couple of days later, Sarkozy and the president both criticizing Israel? At the same time, England put out a statement that these settlements have got to stop. So I'm thinking, Mayor, I'm Iran or I'm any one of these other countries, and I'm loving this.
Of course. And I believe that the Obama administration is willing to throw Israel under the bus in order to please Muslim nations. I believe that, honestly. Now, we'll know when I'm right or wrong. The Arabs are going to try to take advantage of this situation at the Security Council to get condemnations of Israel on Jerusalem and other matters.
Well, I think we've already condemned Israel there.
No. There's no.
We didn't have a formal condemnation?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, but now let's say...
Security Council.
Okay, I apologize. So let's say Iran then...
And the question is whether President Obama will veto it.
Will veto that. But Iran revs up the octane, then gets more bellicose. Then what?
Well, I believe that the Obama administration has already made a decision that they're not going to be able to stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb, and they're going to live with it. To me, we are approaching appeasement and Munich.
Wow. Ed Koch, fiery as always. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Continued good health.